Again, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us. Exciting day today. We have Explora Journeys with us. I'm going to make proper introductions in a second. So real quick, just to go through this one more time. All of you that know us, thank you for joining us again. Some of you might not know us yet. So thank you for joining us also. We'll be happy to share a little bit about us and about our relationship with Explora toward the end of today's event. As we get started, this is going to be very interactive, very dynamic. We're going to be asking questions. We're going to be hearing answers. Feel free to ask your questions in the chat, but feel free to interrupt if you feel that it's proper as well to do so, because we love that live interaction as well. Throughout today's event, you guys are going to get some pop-ups in your screen every so often, which are polls that Denise, our lovely marketing manager, is going to push out throughout the event. That is so that we can understand who's joining us, what your likes are, whether or not you have, there you go. Are you currently looking to book a future that's supposed to be Explora Journeys trip? Might be let's see, if we get a majority no, do not know yet. So it would be an accomplishment if we can turn the majority of you guys undecided to a solid yes toward the end. We want to share with you guys as much as we can today. So if you feel that there's anything that we're missing, please challenge us and let us know. It has not been left out of the presentation on purpose or the conversation on purpose. The reason why we want to do this is because Explora Journeys is a new cruise line, is a new brand coming into the luxury space. And I'm going to let them do the proper introduction of the brand. But our intent today is to get you guys to know the brand so well that by the end of the event, you're so excited about it that you're going to really want to confirm or hopefully make a reservation on Explora Journeys very soon. And I'll talk more about that in a minute. So without any further ado, Chris, Saul, please, if you can introduce yourselves.
Great. I'll jump in first. So Chris Austin, I'm the Chief Sales Officer. I'm privileged to be the Chief Sales Officer of this amazing new brand. The accent is English. I actually live in Sunny Isles Beach, Miami, not far from our fabulous partners, Carlos, Denise, and team at Luxury Cruise Connections. And I've had a long career in the hospitality industry, not only in the ocean side of our industry, but also on the land side, but always in luxury. And I am, as I say, really excited to be with you today and, of course, with Explora Journeys. Saul.
Thanks, Chris. And actually, not too far away either from Chris and our friends at Luxury Cruise Connections. So my name is Saul Fonseca, and I'm one of the heads of sales here at Explora Journeys, and currently coming to you from sunny Fort Lauderdale. So again, not too far away from our friends here. And I have the pleasure, the honor, the privilege of working alongside Chris and our incredible team that has been growing. And I'm coming up actually next month on 2 months with the brand. So again, very, very, very proud, very passionate to have been pretty much at the ground floor alongside Chris, building what we're hoping you all walk away with today, seeing is going to be an incredible new brand, a luxury lifestyle brand.
That's it. And for those that don't know me, I'm Carlos Edery, and I'm the CEO of Luxury Cruise Connections. I'm very proud to be here today, not only alongside with my team, but with our friends and colleagues, Chris and Saul, and the other colleagues and team members that are joining us today. I want to start this conversation by just saying the following. As a luxury cruise agency, we like to say that we don't have order takers in our company, right? We have advisors. And the difference between an advisor and an agent is the ability to really understand what our clients want, what our clients need, and then make the proper recommendations so that we can advise you on how to make the most out of your vacation, right? So the first thing that comes to mind is, well, how could you possibly be recommending a cruise line that you've never sailed on? Like, how is that true, unbiased advice, right? And I want to start this conversation by saying that while I have never sold an Explorer, nobody has ever sold an Explorer because obviously it's a new brand, their ship is not out yet. I've known the executive and management team of the Explora Journeys of Explora Journeys for a long time. So I've known Chris, I've known Saul, and I've known the company behind Explora Journeys. I'm sure you guys are going to talk more about this in a minute. But MSC is the parent company of Explora, and our relationship, even before Explora, goes way back. But even with Explora, I think I'm proud to say that we were the first agency that Chris and Saul visited when the brand just launched. You guys came to our office, shared exciting news, share information that wasn't even privy to the entire world yet. And we've been following the process, and we've been following the progress, and we've been following the steps that Explora Journeys has been taking. So while none of us can say as having been there, this is going to be, or this is an incredible cruise line, I can tell you that I have absolutely and full confidence that they will get it right, that they will be an incredible player, an incredible brand within the space, because I followed each step. They're doing things the right way. They're doing things in the way that I would expect them to do them. And I know the values and what they stand for, not only as professionals, but as a brand. And that speaks volumes to me. So with that, I want to start with my first and most important question is, can you share, Chris or Saul, can you share with our audience today, what is Explora Journeys and what does the brand stand for?
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much again for affording your time to us. We're privileged to have this opportunity, and of course, we love working with our partners, Carlos and team. So what is Explora Journeys? I think, Carlos, quite simply, it's the vision, it's the dream, it's the passion project of our family owners. And who are our family owners? They are the Aponte Vargo family. They are the biggest shipping company in the world. They're European, headquartered in Switzerland. So we like to say the gold thread of Swiss luxury runs through the brand. But really, we're bringing their dream to life. And we've done that through a lot of guest centricity, focusing on asking 20,000 future guests, so 20,000 travelers, what they would like in a brand. And what do we stand for? We're creating really a category of our own. We are here to also protect the oceans of the world. Our family have 300 years of legacy in business in the oceans. Our founder of the MSC group, who is our family business, is still alive actually today, when he started the Mediterranean shipping company. And really, as I say, they're the largest shipping company in the world now. What does that also mean? It means financial stability. And that's very important in today's world. They have no debt.
I know. Trying to figure out how to get it out of.
They have no debt in the world, and we wish success on every single brand operating in what is commonly called the cruise industry. But as I think many of you know, there's a lot of borrowings through the pandemic. But for MSC Group, none at all. So we're really looking forward to bringing this brand, Carlos, to fruition.
Fantastic, and I'm gonna add two cents to that. When I had the opportunity to meet Mr. Vago as well in one of the events that that Saul put together at the Faena, I remember him saying something very interesting, which is, and just keep me real here, but they've always been incredible at their hardware, right? I understand that is it Mr. Vago's wife that is into design and into And so he was sharing with us that, while MSC as a brand, caters to a different type of clientele, he always wanted to put something together that would allow him to kind of share with luxury clientele something close to what he has in his own yacht, right? And that I remember him saying that he basically told his wife, just, go crazy, do there's no limits on this one. Just do whatever you want. Just make it as luxurious and as yacht-like and as, something that I would enjoy because what I like in my own yacht type of thing.
Yeah.
To be real here.
No, that's very true, Carlos. And actually I mentioned 20,000 consumers. So our family owners, Mr. Vargo, Mr. Aponte, and the family could have just designed what they wanted. but they actually knew the right thing to do was to go and ask actually our future travelers. And we heard from them that they wanted a yacht-inspired ship, which of course pleased Mr. Vargo and his wife, because that's exactly what they really wanted to deliver. Note what I said, a yacht-inspired ship. So we're not building a yacht, we're building a ship. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, we're building 6 ships, and 2 currently are under construction by the finest luxury shipbuilders in the world, Fincantieri in Italy. And of course, our first one, which we all know and are excitingly waiting for, will launch on July the 17th with our first maiden journey. Wonderful. We're sharing a beautiful, this is a computer-generated image, CGI, of our very first ship. You can see the aft of the ship there. A lot of the super yacht inspiration there. But she's the size of the ship she is, small to medium, because those 20,000 travelers also said to us we wanted space, we want choice, we want design in an interior design perspective, but also in a sustainability point of view, and we want some privacy. And to deliver space and choice and privacy, personalization, intimate spaces, you need a ship of a certain size, actually. And she's looking beautiful in that picture.
It's beautiful. And so we're talking about, we went out, you guys went out there and asked clients what they wanted. So let's talk about those clients. Who are those clients? What is your target market? Who are you trying to attract? Like, what is the perfect no-brainer, this is a perfect fit for you type of traveler?
Yeah, well, we love to call our future travelers discerning travelers, actually. And obviously they're looking to basically discover our world. We are going to have, or deliver to them, the opportunity to discover their ocean state of mind. And there's a lot of brands out there that they talk about their ships, what is commonly called hardware, and they talk about the destinations they go to, but they don't talk about where their home is. And their home is the ocean. And as I said, our family owners have had 300 years of legacy in the ocean, but the ocean is also, look at the energy. Think of the energy the ocean has, and think how it is transformative, and it allows you to connect either with the ocean itself or connect with your loved ones, yourself. Maybe you take time. I was talking to somebody the other week and I said, what's your favorite time on a ship? And they said, when I'm on my own, reading a book, looking out at sea at that horizon, and I can't see anything else. And they're putting themselves in that sort of zone of peace and solitude. And so the ocean allows you to sort of discover and connect any which way you want to. So discerning travelers that want to discover our world, want to connect with the ocean to a degree, want a slower, more immersive pace. So one of the most common things, and you can do word clouds, yes, when you survey X number of people. One of the most common things that was said, we want to have a journey, a holiday, a vacation that is exhilarating and not exhausting. And so we're delivering our journeys slower, more immersive. We'll have overnights. We'll have unconventional arrival and departure times. So we could arrive at 8 a.m. and leave at 11 p.m., for example, and we'll include sea days. And I did notice at the very beginning a question about solo. So this speaks to actually who our guests are, and of course, we want to be welcoming. Diversity is very important to us, and it's very important to our family. But we do want to be the brand also for those true lovers of, and I will say the word once or twice, cruising. We're offering a journey, not a simple cruise. But we will be the future home for those ardent lovers of cruising, but we'll also be the future home for those travelers who love luxury land experiences, go to resorts, and have never actually unlocked the opportunity to discover the world through our oceans. And I love to say, Carlos, I think you've heard me say this before, there is no better way to arrive at a destination, a marquee port, or a drop anchor in a beautiful little, hidden harbor, than by ship. It is transformational. It is so different than driving your car, parking in a car park, using public transport and arriving in a fabulous city that way. It's completely different. So whether you are loyal at cruising, new to cruising, whether you're a solo, a family, multi-generationals, couples, friends traveling together, we hope to be the future home for yourselves.
So and then in terms of the experience, obviously, and let me just kind of put this in perspective for everybody. We like to think that the cruise industry is divided into kind of four major categories: luxury category, upper premium, premium, and then contemporary. That's kind of how we internally categorize the different cruise lines in the industry. In that luxury category, that's where Seabourn and Silversea and Crystal and Regent and those brands play, right? Where do you think you stand?
Well, we stand in a category of our own, Carlos. And
Okay.
so you might all be thinking, oh, that's a bold answer, and he's full of himself, this English chap. But you know, we really are setting out to create a category of our own. Actually, we have huge respect for the brands you just mentioned, and you know, if that's the experience people want, they're the brands that they should choose. We are really trying to create something fresh, something differentiated, something that is very appealing to, as we call, discerning travelers. And I'll share, nomenclature is very, very important to us. For example, we don't have any crew. We have no crew. So you're probably thinking, oh, so how's everything going to operate? You know what we have? We have a global team of passionate hospitality experts who will deliver personalized, intuitive service that are called hosts. So you can tell just from that one thing, just from the thoughtfulness of the name we're calling our crew, that we're already focused on delivering unbelievable service that, you know, if it comes from a passionate, people want to be in the roles that they're in. And actually, I can add, you know, ladies and gentlemen, we've already recruited over 1,200 hosts, and we need just close to 700 for our first ship. And of course, many of you who are familiar, you know, our hosts are not on board for, you know, a full year. They will rotate, and that's why you need more hosts. But I think it's an interesting little detail that shares a little bit of the insight to how we're thinking about building the brand.
That's a great answer, right? I mean, I think you know, I don't think it's bold at all. I think you guys are trying to put something together that is very, very different in terms of the experience. And I think in general, I think we can understand that by different, you also mean very luxurious, very upscale. You know, you're catering to people that would normally stay at 5- and 6-star hotels. You're normally catering to people that are looking for an experience that goes way beyond your typical cruise, but definitely on that total upper end of the category, right?
Yeah, and I think as you know, and many of our friends who are listening today know this, but you know, we will offer an incredible value compared to that, you know, luxury resort. You know, the brand will, when you think of the pricing, you know, I mean, it's all inclusive, yes, and we can talk more about this and the experience that we're offering. But I think value compared to pure luxury land is absolutely there. And despite we're aiming, you know, I mean, we'd love to say that we're really at the Belmond, Six Senses, One and Only, those hotel levels. We will not be charging. We're not charging the pricing of those hotels, which seems to have gone up quite a lot in the last 12 months, actually.
Significantly.
Yeah.
Carlos, and you know, I just wanna highlight one thing, and you know, it's kind of comes back to the question, and comes back to the point Chris was making, but it's important to remember and to highlight that, you know, when we say we're really creating a category of our own, it's not because that's just not us being bold and being different for the sake of being different. It's all incredibly purposeful. And what we have to remember is what Chris said earlier. It's a direct result of the 20,000 plus potential guests, travelers that Chris mentioned, were surveyed. So we quite literally have built a brand and experience based on what all of you, our potential travelers, have told us they wanted. And of course, along the way were were obvious questions asked. What do you like about the cruise industry? What don't you like? What would you like to see different? And so, and the list goes on. And that's how we truly have built this brand. And that's the reason why we say we are in a category of our own. So I think it's important to highlight it, just to remember and keep at the forefront.
So let's elaborate a little bit more on that topic. Like, what are those other things that are going to set you apart compared with the other ultra luxury, all the lines in the luxury category?
Yeah, it's a great question, Carlos. And, I like the way you've asked the question, because the other way of asking the question would have been, what's your 1 point of difference? And my answer to that is, we have 100 points of difference. That's our 1 point of difference. So you don't create a brand by basically trying to do one thing differently. It is about a portfolio of how you look at every single part of the guest experience. So when we were surveying, I said they wanted a yacht-inspired ship, and we've delivered that. Designed by Martin Francis, the world's preeminent maritime super yacht architect, in partnership with Fincantieri, the Italian shipbuilders. Then they said they wanted space. So you can listen to that, you can embrace it, or you can not. We've embraced it. Our lead-in suite, the other way of saying lead-in suite would be the smallest suite, is 377 square feet, or 35 square meters. That today, when it launches, will be the largest suite in the category in the industry. Now, we're not trying to play a size game. There are other brands I am pretty confident that will launch and say we are bigger, and they're going to play that game. But 377 square feet is the size of a very good luxury hotel bedroom. We have the highest guest to space ratio also in the industry. So when you look at the guest to space ratio, when it's divided per person, there's 198 square feet of guest space per guest on board. Now, I think you mentioned earlier, that we have a ship that can carry 900, which factually is true. But actually, one of the points of our difference is we're never actually going to look to fill the ship 100%. That's a big point of difference, because every other brands that you've mentioned, is looking to fill 100%.
I can say that, and having been in this industry for a long time, I can say that the purpose of every other single cruise line in this industry is to sell at 100%. So that's a huge point. That's a huge point. What else? It
is. So, obviously, why, some people could say, oh, again, the English chap's on his, again, he's just doing his thing. No, we're owned by a family. We're owned by the wealthiest shipping company in the world. They've got no debt. So our model can be very different. How do you create a better luxury lifestyle experience? Well, you allow the space to grow, and you don't, it's about optimizing guest experience, not maximizing the space in guest experience. So space is obviously critical choice, and we'll talk, I think, I'd love, Saul and myself to talk to you about culinary, because it's so important to the overall experience. But we will have altogether, when you count restaurants, bars and lounges, 18 locations, venues for our guests to enjoy. So again, we may only have 750 people on board. They'll have 18 venues to enjoy. That's choice. Most other ships are designed with one central swimming pool, maybe two. We have 4 pools. One is a beautiful interior pool with a retractable roof, so we can open it in those beautiful days, but 3 other pools. One, actually, our forward pool is actually going to be adult only, which by that answer tells you we're owned by a family. So of course families are welcome, but we'll be taking care of our younger guests appropriately and making sure that we've got curated facilities. That's perfect. Thank you so much. That is our beautiful, what we call our conservatory. There's also a fabulous gelateria, ice cream parlor, etc. there as well. And,
right here, show the pools.
Yeah, there's 2 of the pools are on the aft of the ship. One forward. There you go. You've got some gorgeous shots of the pool, and you can sort of see. Then I'll just talk. One of the pillars that guests, also those future travelers, said was design. So the overall ship interior design is it's vibrant. It's contemporary, it's cosmopolitan, it's sort of like a boutique hotel. And it's less of a cruise ship and it's more of that boutique hotel. And you'll see that as we look at other pictures. Yes, this is our lobby. It's actually called the lobby. 2 stories, beautiful bar. I think we can all imagine ourselves actually getting our favorite cocktail from there, which of course are all included, but beautiful furnishings, actually all made by the couches there are made by an Italian company called Baxter, which you could actually buy for your homes as well. In the perimeters of the lobby, you've got our luxury retail. We'll have very different retail from any other brand currently. Some luxury shops that you would only ever see in many cities of the world, and other retail as well. But a beautiful, and I think that picture, Carlos, thanks for putting it up, because it really does sort of convey a very comfortable, elegant, relaxed, but cosmopolitan boutique hotel feel.
Absolutely. And I'll share more pictures of the ship along the way,
Yeah.
especially when we get into the suites and so forth. But
Yeah.
let's dig a little bit into Explora One, which is obviously your first ship. Debuts in 2023. Do we have an official launch date, Chris?
Oh, yes, we do, actually. We're going to take delivery of the ship at the end of June, in fact, a few days before the end of June, but the very first maiden journey, as we like to call it, is the 17th of July out of Southampton. We have a fantastic northern European fjords, Norwegian fjords itinerary. It is 15 nights, and it really is a voyage of discovery. It finishes in Copenhagen, and you'll go quite far north. You'll hopefully see those magical northern lights, fingers crossed, but into many fjords and locations that you wouldn't be able to get to unless you were actually arriving by ship. So places like Skagen, Stavanger, Bergen, Flam, Molde, Trondheim, and the furthest north is Leknes in the Lofoten Islands. You'll also see Bruges, of course, and as I say, you'll finish in Copenhagen. The average length of our journey, Carlos, as we're talking about journeys, is actually about 8 nights. We do have some 6 nights in the Caribbean. So you were just showing the map there. So after our maiden, we'll do a few more Northern European journeys. We'll then start moving across Greenland and Iceland. Our most popular journey at the moment, if anybody wants to sort of follow what's popular, is actually Reykjavik, Iceland to New York City. You'll see then the red lines here. So you'll see that we go down the eastern seaboard, the Maritimes of North America, and then into the Caribbean for festive of 2023, New Year of 24, and then down to South America. If you want to experience Brazilian Carnival, you can do that with us in February. Now, of course, these journeys include those overnights, where appropriate. They include those unconventional arrival and departure times and sea days as well. And as I say, the average length is around about 8 nights. And the other line, if anybody was looking at that, that's ship number 2, which is under construction as well by Fincantieri and will be delivered August the 15th of 2024. And we're absolutely on time, Carlos, for our first ship. As I say,
question.
Yes, I'm reading your mind, and I know what everybody wants to know. We are not impacted by the same situation that some other brands have been under. Yes, global supply is a challenge in our world. There's no hiding of that, but we absolutely now are in the final stages of build. As I said,
he kind of controls a big chunk of the supply chain anyways.
That's somewhat true. The good thing is we're taking delivery of the ship about 3 weeks before the first maiden, and that's a key point of the build time.
Yeah. And what can well, we kind of talked about it already, but can guests feel confident that the experience they're going to get on board on those maiden voyages and those first voyages is going to be up to par, and why? Can you speak a little bit about it? What can they expect?
Yeah, that's a great question, actually. I think it's a question that yeah, I understand why it's being asked. So Our hosts, passionate global hospitality experts, they're obviously being recruited. We've hired an awful lot. They're also being trained right now. And actually, they will then go through intensive training, 8 weeks of training before boarding the ship as well. So the good thing is, many of them, most are actually coming from, as I say, the hospitality industry. So, they already have skills and we're hiring for the right skill. So that's quite a lot of significant training, actually. Another point, Carlos, I want to share. A head of department is interviewing every single one of their team, and they don't get hired unless they want them hired. That is a big difference. Now, it doesn't sound like rocket science, but actually it doesn't happen in the industry. Basically, agencies identify, through, and then they arrive to start the job. And the first day a head of department meets that person is the first day they get to the ship. That is not happening with us. You cannot have the right team unless you personally, just as I wanted Saul to work with us, I interviewed him and I said in the end, yes, you can join us, you can work with us, yes. So personal interviews and hiring the right people. Our accommodations on board for our hosts are perhaps the best in the industry. Now, again, there'll be another ship where they'll do the same thing. That's how the industry obviously is. But looking after our team on board is very, very important. There's an expression, well, we'll say happy host, happy guest. Yes, I mean, it's simple. So we're really putting a lot of thought and focus. Our contracts, maybe a fourth reason, our contracts are shorter and our hosts have options of signing 3, 4, 5, or 6 months contracts. There's no 9-month or 10-month contracts. People would be exhausted if they were working for that amount of time. So again, one of the key words that we use a lot, and Saul said it, thoughtfulness. Thoughtfulness in how we've designed the guest experience, and thoughtfulness how we've designed the experience for our hosts as well, which is very, very important.
That makes a lot of sense. And so personalization is at the heart of Explora One. We know that we've talked about it before. But what does this mean for guests on board? And can you give us some example?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so, please feel free to jump in. Personalization comes 2 ways. Yes, it's how we can help personalize a guest's traveler's experience, and it's also how the individual guest wants to personalize their own experience. And I was talking about the ship and the choices, and we've designed a lot of smaller spaces. There's no very large restaurant where every guest can go. There is no large theater where, you go and etc. And we'll talk hopefully a little bit about entertainment, because I know Saul and I want to share a little bit more of that because it's very much part of the experience. But smaller spaces allow for personalization. So the way the ship is designed, we're obviously very focused on that intuitive service, knowing that, at dinner, do you drink still water or sparkling water? I'm a Pellegrino sparkling water chap, and it'd be very nice that that's brought to me, through the journey, and I don't have to ask for it every single night. That's the type of level of service we want. I also saw a little question in chat about butlers. So we will have 23 residences, which all have their own private butler. But we have an incredible housekeeping team who actually will deliver pretty much every single service that another brand who markets and promotes that they have butler service will do. We have twice daily housekeeping for every single guest on the ship. And that's where real personalization can obviously come in as well. How we visit a destination, the choice of your destination experiences. Do you want to curate your own perfect day? Some would say that's tailor making. Some would say it's creating a bespoke experience. But we have that ability to really curate a unique personalized experience in the destinations as well. So whether it's on board with a personal trainer or taking one of our 5 wellness complementary classes, or whether it's ashore in a destination, whether it's in our wellness facilities and spa and wellness area, I think there's a lot of personalization we can extend. And so I'm not sure if you have anything to add.
I would actually consider, Chris, fun fact for everybody, watching and listening, but personalization for our host as well, which really ties into that whole happy host, right? Happy host, happy life concept that we have. But a far deviation from how the rest of, and I'll say it, cruise industry treats their crew. We are giving our host choice and the capability of sort of personalizing their onboard experience. So we actually will feature single sort of host, what everybody refers, the rest of the industry refers to as crew quarters. So if you are new to the industry, so keep in mind what Chris said, we are sourcing passionate hosts from across the hospitality industry, so not necessarily cruise. So if you are coming on board a cruise ship for the first time, you may not necessarily care to be doubled up or bunked up with somebody else. So our hosts actually have the option to stay in a single sort of host quarter. You can come on board as a couple and actually be roomed together, whereas there are other areas of the industry where they wouldn't allow that. And so that's actually very, very restrictive. And you have some incredibly talented host crew that want to work with us. And if we didn't offer that option, we would lose out. So I think personalization, yes, to everything Chris said, but also to how we give the choice to our host who are going to be working on board and catering to all of you when you join us. So that really ties into the overall experience.
That says a lot about what you guys are trying to accomplish. So if I have a client that wants to make sure they have not long-lasting milk in their fridge every day and likes almonds as opposed to mixed nuts, like, is that the type of client that I can put on board Explora and know that will be taken care of?
Absolutely, as long as you tell us, because we're not psychic.
Of course, that's the idea. I mean, we, as like I always like to say, we're not just experts in the ships and the products and the destination. We're experts in our clients. We know our clients better than hopefully.
Absolutely. No, and I jest a tiny bit by saying, as long as you tell us, we will be asking in advance. So somebody makes a booking, we'll take information right at the very beginning of that booking process through yourselves, of course. But we want to gather information. I mean, you mentioned, nuts. I mean, that's a very important point, isn't it? Because some people can be allergic to nuts and others actually love nuts. So there's a lot of information we want to gather, and you can use that information very powerfully to curate, as we say. We're really aiming for the perfect day, which is a tall, I mean, that's a high benchmark, yes. And
you guys are ready to accommodate for anybody with restrictions such as gluten-free or
yes.
vegan or
yes. You're segueing into a perfect opportunity for us to talk about culinary, perhaps, huh?
Exactly. Yes, sir. We want to know about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's get into culinary and those experiences.
Yeah, thank you. Well, yes, so the answer to your question, we will offer obviously a real wide choice. After all, that's one of the pillars of culinary requests, dietary requests, and we are very, very lucky that our head of culinary is Frank Garringer. And you may say, so who's Frank Garringer? He has been the head of culinary for another very, very notable brand that basically is known for their culinary. He wasn't, as I say, the poster child. He worked for another gentleman whose name was Jacques, but he basically did all the work. And he is a most amazing gentleman. He comes from a family of chefs. His father owned an incredible, I think, patisserie shop in Lyon, and so he's grown up in the culinary world. But Frank is really very, very special. He's also recruiting a team. Nobody can do their job on their own, and he has already recruited an incredible team. For example, the head pastry chef for us is Christopher Sapé. And who's Christopher Sapé? Well, he was the head pastry chef at the Mandarin Oriental in Hong Kong before joining us. So again, I'm quoting some brands that are familiar to people, that clearly are known in the luxury space, and that's very important to us. We will offer, and I said earlier, 18 distinctive culinary bars, lounges There are 6 full restaurants, and you've got you've got a nice list here. So you can see the list on the left side here are our full restaurants: Anthology, the Emporium, Sakura, Marble & Co., Med Yacht Club, and Fil Rouge. And I'll just take a few minutes to talk a little bit about those. So Anthology is going to be really very, very special. Anthology is basically for visiting chefs that are actually awarded or celebrated. Notice I'm not using the word celebrity chefs. That's something very, very different. So an awarded chef will be somebody like Chef Uliassi, 3-star Michelin awarded chef. His restaurant in Italy on the Adriatic coast. It's very, very hard to get a reservation in. He and his team will be on board for a number of months. He will probably be off and on, but he will curate in our restaurant called Anthology his same experience that he has in his beautiful restaurant. There is a dining experience charge in Anthology. It's €190 per person. It's the only restaurant on board that has that one charge. Sakura, and many of you may know, means Japanese cherry blossom. This is Pan-Asian. It's just not Japanese. You'll be enjoying Vietnamese, Malaysian, teppanyaki, different styles of cuisine. And in fact, I can tell you the signature dish in there is a Wagyu beef tataki with wakame salad and smoked Madagascan peppers. So I'm starting to think I'm hungry and I need to eat. Marble & Co., a European-inspired steakhouse with cuts of beef and different choices, not only from Europe, from actually all around the world. We'll also have our own dry Asia in Marble & Co. It's going to be a fantastic restaurant for those steak and meat lovers.
Chris, I would actually add, sorry, not to interrupt your flow, but for those of us who may not know or are very much aware, the difference between a European steakhouse and an American steakhouse, which we're all accustomed to here. But the main difference is European is quality over quantity. And that is a big difference when it comes to the choices, the cuts of meat, the delivery, the preparation. So that's an important note on the differences between European and American.
That's good. And being a European headquartered brand and owned by a European family, these European sort of touches are, I think, very, the part of the DNA of the brand, obviously. And the Med Yacht Club, speaking of Europe, the Med Yacht Club is going to offer, that dolce vita of the Mediterranean. But one thing I love about it is not only are we serving cuisines, from Italy, from Greece, etc., from Spain, we'll be serving North African cuisines as well. So great choice, Moroccan cuisines, so really, really, I think, inspiring and enjoyable. The Emporium Marketplace, we're going to have 18 separate cooking stations. Do not think of this as, oh, they have a buffet. No, this is about visual stimulation. This is about chefs cooking à la minute and actually cuisine being brought to your table as well, obviously, if you so choose. And Fil Rouge in French means the red line. And actually, when you look at the ship, there is a red line at the watermark around the entire ship. And we've just taken that and called a restaurant Fil Rouge. It is international, global inspired cuisine, but with obviously a French influence there. You will have the choice of 24/7 in-suite dining also. There is a chef's kitchen. This has 12 spaces for basically cooking with a chef. You may go ashore, do your sort of culinary marketplace shopping, come back, be in a cooking class, and then there's a private dining room for 12 adjacent, and this experience does have, again, a small charge, as it's really it's like a destination experience, not just a dining experience. Mm-hmm. Across the other locations, and you were showing actually that slide here, Crema Cafe on the top of the right of the slide here. That's obviously our coffee shop there with our baristas, but you'll be able to dine in there as well. You could actually have a light breakfast. You could have mid-morning snacks. You could actually have a very nice light luncheon there, afternoon tea perhaps, or even go there and enjoy dessert and coffee after dinner. So really mixing things up. And you can see we'll serve culinary offerings across several of our lounges, our Explora lounge as well. So a lot of choice when it comes to dining, all led by a very, very notable head chef, Frank Garinger.
I want to go a little bit off track here with just a question that I know is on people's mind. You know, we've been talking a lot about European this, European that, European everything, right? Are you looking to cater mainly to Europeans?
Great question. No, we're not actually. We're looking at having a very healthy global mix of business. So of course, you know, if I spoke in my commercial language, I'd be talking about sourcing, where our guests coming from. And actually, it's easy to explain this when I tell you what the vision is. We will try to source 50% of our guests from the Americas. We will try to source about 40% from the UK and all of Europe, and the other 10% from Australia, South Africa, you know, Asian, etc. So really, it's a very nice, healthy, blended mix of, again, discerning travelers. And I know that one of the most, I think, inspiring parts of taking a journey is meeting like-minded others. And in my prior job, I used to get lots of letters from guests saying, you know, I've made unbelievable friends and we can't wait to, you know, they'd always write cruise, can't wait to cruise again. And I think that's one of the beautiful things, and we will be delivering that as well. So I'm pleased you asked the question, Carlos. Thank you.
No, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, when we travel abroad, we want to feel we're abroad, right? So
absolutely.
I like that. I like that approach. Okay, cool. So let's get into the room product, your suites and your accommodations. I can show some pictures. How about I share my screen with some pictures, and then you kind of tell us what we're looking at as I go.
Yeah. So why don't you pick this?
Do that.
Pick this up.
1 second. Let me start from here. Can you guys see my screen?
There you go. That's the lead-in suite. So
yeah, our lead-in suite. So we recall from earlier in the conversation. So this is, so again, we are going to be in Carlos. Your screen is kind of getting a little blurry. I don't know if it's just me.
There you go.
There we go. All right. I saw Denise's face, so it clearly wasn't me. But we are going to be an all suite experience. Okay. So as Chris was saying earlier, this is our lead-in suite category, which is 377 square feet. So that's combined interior and exterior space. This is really where we have the bulk of our inventory. So 371 of these suites. And you can start to see sort of the expansiveness of this suite. And not pictured here, but maybe in one of the other pictures Carlos is going to show you, is the terrace. And we purposely call them terraces and not balconies because they are going to be larger than balconies. Our terraces actually have enough space for, yes, the traditional sort of dining setup, table, chairs, but we also will have enough space for a full-size day bed that can accommodate two adults. And this is just a lead-in, but across all the different suite categories, they will all have walk-in wardrobes. All of our suites in the bathrooms will have heated floors, which is a nice little upgrade. And yes, even when it's 80-something degrees outside, but you walk into that suite and it's nice and chilly, it's nice to have heated floors when you step into the bathroom. We also feature for all of the ladies on the call and maybe some of the gentlemen, Dyson supersonic hair dryers in every single one of the suites. And no, Denise is happy about that. Denise will not be sort of, locked down into one location. You could actually unplug it and move it if you needed to. But if you do take it home, we might bill you for it. All of the linens in all of the suites will be frette linens. So as Carlos is going through these CGIs, these renderings, you can pretty much, these are, and Chris, you can keep me honest here, these are final versions of what you will experience when you come on board Explora One. So in terms of color palette, finishing, obviously not the closest inside the wardrobe because that'll be filled with your own. But in terms of design, lighting, finishes, this is almost exactly what you are going to experience when you step on board Explora One in July.
Absolutely. I think Saul's doggies are probably agreeing.
No, sorry, my little girls are
It's all right.
a little too excited.
I think Denise is trying to mute us all, but I think it's you, Saul, actually. So don't worry, you can't get anything by us. So anyway, there's a beautiful picture of the daybed, Italian made by a wonderful Minuti is the manufacturer of those, but you can see dining there on the terraces would be a lovely, lovely experience. This is actually a schematic, as we call it, of the layout of the lead-in suites, and you can actually see how the vanity area is actually inside the closet there, the wardrobe, as we like to call it. That frees up the area in the suite. You know, think if somebody's watching a film or a movie on the television or something, or reading a book, then you can, the other person can obviously enjoy that seated vanity area well. And there's plenty of plugs and plenty of lighting. That was some of the things that actually our founder's wife wanted to make sure of as well. You're looking here at a penthouse. Penthouses are obviously larger, separate sleeping area as well there, and lots of space, entertaining. You could actually invite 2 other guests and we would serve you dinner in the penthouses at your interior table there for 4 guests as well. And that, again, you'll see the frette linen and the private sleeping area, and that's the schematic of a premier penthouse, actually. There's a few different categories of penthouses. And then I think you're going to start showing us residences. So, you know, nomenclature is important to us. All of our suites are homes at sea. And so hence the word residences. They're not real estate for sale. They're just the largest suites. We have 23 of them. They all have that additional butler service in addition to the twice daily housekeeping. What they also have on their terraces are private whirlpools. So all 23 have a private whirlpool. You can see there a great shot of one of the bedrooms and the schematic of a retreat residence. And that's, there you go, the little circle there is the private whirlpool, and that's in the forward section, the retreat residence of the ship. And then you may, yes, you can have a few pictures of the owner's residence. So if you want the largest accommodation on the ship, this is all on deck 8 aft, takes up the entire aft of deck 8. It's 3,014 square feet. We're not trying to offer the biggest accommodations at sea. We're not necessarily trying to play into, you know, biggest is best, because we don't necessarily think that is always the case. But this is the dining room area of the owner's residence. And again, we could certainly serve a beautiful dinner party there. And you've got the lounge area. And what you could see outside on the terrace is perhaps one of the largest private whirlpools actually in the industry, which is there. And this is, yeah, that's the there you go, there's the outdoor pool. The actual, I will just say, the actual balcony railing on the owner's residence is actually cantilevered in. It's not straight, so it prevents you can't really see it well on this rendering, but it prevents looking over and, you know, into the accommodations below. But of course, that beautiful super yacht aft experience that we have.
Amazing. This is just
a few additional shots. Yeah,
I mean, it's beautiful. Wow. Okay, so I think we get a pretty good feel of the accommodations and the product, you know, the hardware itself. What about the entertainment? Can we talk a little bit about that and kind of the experience around that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, you know, we really are trying to create entertainment a little bit differently. We will, as I've said, no large theater, but we do have a very, very nice lounge where we will have entertainment. Now, entertainment is going to be delivered across 7 different venues. It will obviously start at a particular time, but it's not all going to start at 6 o'clock. We may have some entertainment actually taking place in mornings and afternoons. Some may start in a lounge at 5 o'clock. Some may start at 6 o'clock. But what is key is it goes till late. It isn't like a show starting at 9 till 10. And you know what happens if you're trying to get to a show at 9 o'clock? You don't eat your dessert. Maybe you do, but you tend to be chasing the clock to get to the beginning of a show. We will have on board 14 resident artistes, a minimum of 2 guest artistes at a time, and 2 to 4 luminaries. So the resident artists, the 14, obviously would be spread across the 7 different venues. But if later into the evening we wanted to pull several of them from one venue into another venue and do something spontaneous, we can. Some of the best entertainment in the world is delivered through the spontaneity, unprogrammed, unprescribed. It's things that just happen that involve guest interaction as well. The guest artists that will be joining, you know, they're not just coming for one show. That's just not how it operates. They join the resident artists and they play or they perform all the time. You know, in the evenings or during the allotted time that they're meant to be. It's not a one-time thing. Obviously, you know, if they're guest artists, they're coming from the destinations where we're sailing, and that brings a little bit of that local destination, authentic entertainment to our guests as well. Luminaries, you know, different names by different companies, lectures perhaps by some, conversations by others. For us, they're luminaries. This is enrichment. We are really sourcing some really unique luminaries that will unlock a destination where we're sailing. They'll have very, very interesting stories, and they'll probably approach subjects from a different angle, a different approach. I know on our UK and Scotland journey, we actually visit Edinburgh, and of course our guests will be able to, if they choose, to go to the destination experiencing of the military tattoo. So one of our luminaries that is on board before we get to Edinburgh happens to be the brigadier who created and managed the military tattoo for over 10 years. So, I mean, think of the storytelling that he will have, but it'll also add to that overall experience as well. We have, and some of you may have already seen this, we have signed the very first partnership with Steinway. So Steinway, we'll have all Steinway pianos. Now, of course, anybody can buy, I guess, a Steinway piano if you so choose, but it also unlocks a partnership with them and their approved artists. And I've had the pleasure of listening to a gentleman, Francisco, who will be actually journeying with us in our first season. He is a Steinway pianist. He is 24 years of age. And I can tell you, if you hear him, you will stop. So he may be playing in the lobby. I think you showed that beautiful picture of our lobby and the bar. We'll have a Steinway piano in the lobby. You could be passing through. You could hear him play. You could stop. You could say, let's get a drink and enjoy more of this. A little bit of spontaneity, a little bit of, you know, sort of uniqueness in your evening sort of scheduling there. And, you know, he's young, he's vibrant, he puts his own spin on, you know, whether it's classical, whether it's modern music, etc. But it's just an example, actually, of how you can sign a partnership with a wonderful company like Steinway, makes the best pianos in the world, but then actually deliver unique, different types of entertainment. So we're really excited. We will soon on our website be putting the artists that are on our many journeys, and you'll be able to get a little bit more of an insider look into what we're offering.
Great, great. And I know sustainability is a big thing for Explora Journeys as well. So anything else aside from what you've already shared that you want to share with us regarding sustainability?
Well, yes, it is. It's very, very important. You know, I mean, we have two choices in life. We either protect our planet and contribute to that, or I guess we don't. And for the family and for all of us working for Explora Journeys, sustainability and the environmental focus is absolutely critical. Explora One is designed to be very future forward. We actually have plug-in ship-to-shore power. sounds great, and it is great if the shore obviously has it. So like everything in the world, we can do the max, but you need other partners to support that. It's the same with next generation fuel, that would certainly protect the world more. At the moment, it's incredibly expensive, and they need to get pricing down for us all to be able to afford it. But things like RENA noise cancelling, we have on Explora 1. What is that? That protects the hearing and of the mammals in the oceans, for example. There are things that people wouldn't want me to talk about, Carlos, things that would certainly help waste management. We have water purification, we have defouling paint on our ship. So there's a lot that you can do to protect our oceans of the world that isn't necessarily glamorous or isn't to shout loudly about, but it's very important. And again, we do have information available for our guests to read. And as we develop our fleet of 6 ships, we will continue to add more focus on sustainability in the environment. In fact, the ships 3 and 4 will be LNG powered. That means we have to lengthen them by 19 meters. That means we could have put 50 odd more suites in that space, plus other lounges and restaurants. Right. We will add the lounges and restaurants, but we're only adding 7 more suites. Again, I will quote what we said earlier. We're about optimizing guest experience, not maximizing space. 2 very, very, very different things that really drives guest experience. For ships 5 and 6, our family owners have committed to a power source that isn't even developed yet. And what it would enable us to do is when we're in port or at anchor, we would run the entire hotel operation off our own power. And that would be, that's really next gen. And they're committed, and they have told Fincantieri that unless you work this out, then you're not going to be building our ships. So they're quite and very focused on doing the right thing, actually.
So okay, so now let's get back to a little bit of the experience itself. What is included, what is not included, and why?
So we are all inclusive. Again, so what does all inclusive mean? Obviously, all your culinary, other than the anthology and the chef's kitchen, where there are those experience fees, but otherwise all your culinary. We're inclusive of all your beverages. So when you'll be welcomed with your preferences in your suite. And of course, there are some, I'll be very upfront. There are some very high shelf beverages that would be for an additional fee. But remember what I said, Moët Chandon is the free pour complimentary champagne across the ship, not some unknown champagne you've ever heard of. You'll be welcomed by that complimentary welcome gift of a bottle of Veuve Clicquot. If you're in a residence, it'll be a bottle of Dom Perignon. So very, very high quality beverages will be poured. Wi-Fi is included. And in fact, we were told last week, and I'm happy to give you a little bit of insider information here. We have been told that our Wi-Fi has 3 times the bandwidth of any current Wi-Fi at sea. And it can be increased as well if we need to. And remembering, we're not looking to fill the ship. So, capacity it should be there. We will include, if we're docking a little distance away from the main part of a town, we will provide complimentary transportation, for example. We won't be expecting our guests to, be trying to find a taxi or an Uber or whatever. So there's a lot of inclusions. I think what is not is destination experiences. We're not trying to copy another brand that includes all your destination experiences. Some of those are very good and some of them are sort of fairly average, and some guests say, well, I do them because they're included, but I would rather do something else. We really believe in curating your perfect day, and that means choice. Remember that pillar that our travelers surveyed said they wanted choice. And so we're giving you the choice to basically optionally buy your destination experiences or enjoy the ship or just walk around the town, etc., etc. So those are not included. And also air is not included as well, but obviously, Carlos, you'll be able to help all your great clients with all their air.
Exactly. Yeah, we will be there to help create that pre and post voyage experience, a journey experience. So air, pre and post experience, hotels and so forth. We'll be happy to help.
Yeah.
So okay, so that covers quite a bit of what I wanted to make sure we cover today, and we have a lot of interaction, a lot of questions in the chat. Let me just say this. Of course, everybody that attended today's event has an incentive to make your next booking with Explora Journeys through Luxury Cruise Connections, of course. Can we talk about that offer right now? And then I'm going to quickly explain more about your pricing structure and so forth.
Yes, absolutely. So Saul, maybe you'd like to share. Oh, you can't. Okay.
Okay. Oh, the dog.
Maybe I'll pick. Okay. Sorry, I'll pick.
Hopefully it's fast. You can hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Fun fact, actually, Chris, one of our colleagues, Cindy, came by the house to drop off our virtual reality goggles, and so girls are yapping at her through the window because she's out there chatting with my wife. But Carlos, great question. So actually, you all have access to a nice little offer, which most of the industry, actually the rest of the industry, will refer to as a shipboard credit. We refer to as a journey experience credit. So it's a credit that stretches far and wide. You can use for multiple things. But so what we're offering is a €150 per suite offer on any 4 to 7 night journey. It is a €200 per suite on anything from 8 to 15 nights, and then €300 per suite on any 16 plus night journeys. Now, and Carlos can share a little bit more about this with all of you, but that is combinable with another special offer that Carlos and our friends at Luxury Cruise Connections can offer all of you through their partnership and affiliation with the Virtuoso Network. And so, Carlos, if you want to share a little bit more about that.
I will. The Virtuoso amenity varies also based on journey, and it can also go up to an additional €300. Keep me real here because I don't memorize this.
We'll keep it real.
€300 per suite as well. And I know that we're going to have also some hosted sailings with other, with cocktail and private shore excursion as well. But, I want to say this. Many of you guys, Explora Journeys has been at this for many months now. I think the first time we met was almost over a year ago. And I think many of you could be saying, like, why have I not seen commercials of Explora Journeys? Why have I not seen all these advertising of Explora Journeys, right? And I want to address that very quickly, and Chris and Sol can keep me real here. That's by design, right? The idea is Explora Journeys is relying heavily on their trade partners, meaning companies like Luxury Cruise Connections, to deliver the experience for our trusted guests, right? They're relying on us to share this information with you. And that's why this event and today's presentation was so important, because this is how Explora Journeys is communicating with all of you guys of what they have going on. And as you can see so far, as you have seen in this event, they're far from traditional. And one of the things that they've committed as well to is they're not going to play the game of dropping price along the way, right? They decided they're going to launch with this level of pricing, and as time goes on, because they're not interested in filling 100% of their ships. They don't mind if that ship is going to sell at 50 or 60%. They will not be dropping prices. Keep me real here, Chris and Sol. Is this correct?
You are correct. We will not.
You guys are committed to that?
Yes, we'll only increase our pricing. We will not publicly decrease our pricing, and therefore you don't need to be spending time monitoring and telling us you found a cheaper price and please what's called retro our fare.
So what I want to say with this is you will most likely never, well, I'm not never say never, right? But you most likely not see those super strong promotional emails or 50% off, 70% off, 30% off. That's not going to happen with Explora. That's not the approach they're taking with the brand. So I just want to say that yes, we have a nice little incentive for you guys to make a reservation on Explora Journeys within the next 15 days because of having attended to today's event. And if any of you does not feel 100% comfortable with sailing on the first voyage because you want to see what everybody else has to say about it, or maybe the second or third, that's okay. You can actually make a reservation and secure a reservation with Explora at today's rates and fares for 2024 if you want, right? But make your booking for 3 months into after they've been sailing if you want to have that extra level of confidence, and then it'll be on you to then, I like where this is heading, but at least you've secured pricing before they start racing it, because the price has already risen a couple of times on some of their voyages. And if we had the opportunity to share with you some of the particular pricing on some of these itineraries, you would see that pricing is extremely competitive. And by competitive, I mean price below everybody else in the luxury market. That's because they're new, but it's not going to stay that way for too long. So I want to encourage everybody that liked what they saw today, and I'm going to go into questions right now. I'm not going to miss that for sure. And then he said, let me see that pop up real quick. One second.
Presentation?
Yeah, go for it. I want to know now. We sent this out at the beginning, and 68% of you said I don't know yet. Now I want to know what you guys have to say after seeing what you saw today. I want to see if we changed most of your minds. And as we get those results, let's go into those questions, because and by the way, I do know that we're way past our 1 hour mark, and I apologize for that. I really try to stick within the timeline, but it was, I think there was a lot of important information that I wanted to make sure we shared. And so if anybody has to, for whatever reason, jump off the call, it's okay. We will send the recording of the entire event so that you can watch it at your leisure, share it with your friends and family, and make sure that you have an opportunity to do that at your own time. So I'm going to go quickly through these questions. It's some of the stuff we already addressed, so if I skip it, it's because of that. But if you feel that we need to go back to it, let me know. We talked about solo travelers briefly. Do we know what is there a particular offer or percentage that right now you're going to be doing?
Absolutely. So from 15%, 15, up to a maximum of 175. So of course, there's different ways to articulate solo pricing. The 115 means you're paying 15% on top of the 100. You're not paying ever 200%, because we don't believe anybody can eat double or drink double. I think that just shows somewhat credibility in what we're doing. We actually have today, I think, about 20 journeys with starting from 15%, and of course there's levels between the 15 and the 75. So hopefully you find that very appropriate.
There's another question or another comment on the chat about you being the luxury brand of MSC. Alan was asking that question. Alan, I just want to say something about that. Explora Journeys is the luxury brand of MSC, but one of the first things that we talked about when they first launched is they said, look, we are in the luxury market space. I know I'm not, and I know you're not, Alan, because I know that where you travel, you're not an MSC traveler. So my first thing was, how can we make sure that MSC is not going to be influencing way too much what you're doing? And I can tell you from my perspective, the independence that Explora Journeys has away from MSC is incredible. Everything from their management team to their marketing team to their everything team, even sourcing. I mean, I think the only thing they share is the money, right? And maybe, I mean, keep it right, Chris?
Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
it's a great question, you know, and I equate this to sort of some hotel brands where you have a parent and they've created a house of brands, and then under the house of brands you can have a 3-star hotel, a 4-star hotel, 5-star hotel, etc. You know, the MSC Group operating in a number of different areas: cargo shipping, ferry shipping, contemporary cruising, and now luxury lifestyle, you know, provider of journeys, transformational journeys. And who knows, maybe something else in the future. But yeah, we're very proud to be part of the MSC Group. We're not the luxury brand of MSC Cruises. That's a completely different brand. Proud of them as well, but we're a different brand.
yeah, no, that's a good way to put it. And then regarding the European influence on board, as we shared throughout today's presentation, there is quite a bit of European influence on board in terms of the experience. But it's the Explora Journeys brand is definitely a brand that is trying to source most of their clients from the North American market. So expect an experience that is very much, while predominantly European in terms of their delivery, very much appealing for the North American market, right?
Very much, yeah, very much. I mean, we again are very proud of our heritage, our European home from a headquarters and a family point of view. But we're not creating a European brand. We're creating an international brand, you know, and I think that's what's very important. But there is links to Europe, as we've shared. And when I said the gold thread of sort of Switzerland running through the brand, you know, I challenge anybody to think of a bad Swiss brand. You know, there aren't bad Swiss brands. And so this legacy we have of being European and being Swiss is the foundation that will basically deliver that luxury lifestyle experience that we have.
And Chris, I think important to point out, because we've had a couple of questions around formality on board. But even though we say it's a European luxury lifestyle brand, yes, it's going to be vibrant. Yes, it's going to be cosmopolitan. You know, I think what's really important is that it's also going to be very effortless and relaxed. You'll never feel that anything is sort of pushed on you. Our whole experience should be a very organic experience. You should feel pulled into certain, different areas of the ship. And so even though we say European luxury, it is very, very much a lifestyle experience. And so, yes, it'd be very relaxed.
I see a question, Carlos, about onboard currency. Is it in euro? And the question is, yes, it is in euro. But when you come to settle an account, of course, if you have charges, you'll be able to choose the currency that you wish to settle your account on. And that's pretty common these days, you know. I mean, being British, I go through Heathrow quite often. And when I'm buying my duty free, you know, I press a button on the machine. Do I want to pay in UK pounds, euro, or US dollars? And of course, I choose US dollars, but that is the onboard currency. I think I saw a question about, do we have a casino? We do have a casino. It is a relatively small casino with, I think, off the top of my head, 19 slots and 3 tables. The tables can be adjusted to play different games, but obviously the answer is yes. But you know, do not expect a big casino like you may find on some other bigger ships.
And I wanna make sure that we don't skip some of these questions. I want to go very quickly through this. Passengers, 922 passengers in Explora 1 and Explora 2. Right? Did I get that right?
We don't talk about actually how many passengers we have because we only have guests. Sorry, Carlos. Sorry. You know, you walk into some of these things, huh? No, but actually, again, it's not about the number of guests on board. We have 461 suites. We're not aiming to ever have 922. So yes, if you're reading the facts of the ship, you're absolutely right. 922 lower berths.
Okay.
We only allow a maximum of a triple occupancy in our suites, and it's not 3 adults. You can only have the 3rd occupancy with a under 18 aged guests. But I really want to get across this point that, you know, we're not looking to fill the ship, and we will stop when we stop selling a journey. It won't be because we're at 922. We may only be at 863, But we believe, that journey now is the appropriate number of guests for the experience we want to be delivering.
And Chris, actually, to that point, if I may say one thing, and Carlos, you've heard me mention this before, but something that really, the best way to sort of summarize that is, for us, and it's a brand promise, it's always about optimizing the experience for all of our guests on board. It's not about maximizing. So can we accommodate up to that number you said? Sure we can, but it's not about racing ever to fill the ship, and it's always about optimizing the experience for all of your clients, our guests on board.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I got it. I will never say passengers again, ever.
You said to keep it real. We're keeping it real.
Of course. Okay, and then there's a question that I want to make sure that we address also very quickly. Stephen Adelberg was asking about the differences between Ponant and Ritz-Carlton and Explora. Stephen, I think we addressed a lot of that throughout the presentation, but let us know if you feel you want us to go back to that question later on. Okay, I'll be happy to just let me know, and we'll come back to it. But I think we made a lot of very good points about the differences, and hopefully, if anybody has any more questions on it, we'll be happy to come back to it. And then we talked about single supplement and the website. So I'll share the website on the chat if anybody wants more information. Also, we have some good information on our website, luxurycruiseconnections.com. But most importantly, Dan and everybody else, please know that the way we like to do things is in a very personalized basis. So I'll be happy, Dan, somebody will reach out from our team, and we'll make sure to, give you precisely the information you're looking for, based on whatever dates you're looking to travel, and recommend the best accommodation for you as well. Stephen also had a question about butler service, which we addressed also throughout the presentation. Again, let us know if you want us to come back to it. We talked about flights not being included. We talked about gluten-free and accommodations for dining restrictions and so forth. Robert was asking about, can beds be divided? I saw the answer from Sol down there, but I want to make sure we address it also publicly.
No, so beds can't be divided. You have to actually request a twin suite if you want 2 beds. We are, and forgive me, I can't recall if I said this, it's a differentiating point in the industry. We have proper king-size beds in a lead-in suite and up. They are not zipper beds, which is what most cruise ships use. And when you zip them together, they sort of create a odd-size queen. So we have full-size kings, or we have proper twin suites, and you cannot push them together because they'd come apart again. So you can request, and you book the specific suite that you want at the time of booking as well.
And bathtubs?
Yeah, so again, if you want a bathtub, a nice deep soaking bathtub, then you request a suite with that, because other than in the top suites, it's a large walk-in European shower with rain heads, etc. And again, why do we do this? It was because of the travelers we've surveyed. So again, you have the choice. You can have your bath or you can have your shower. What travelers told us, and again, we can disagree, we can agree, they told us we don't use both, or we seldomly use both. And so in a bathroom, if you have both, you're taking up space with one thing that we don't use. And they said, why don't you just do either bathrooms with big walk-in showers or bathrooms with beautiful deep soaking tubs? And so that's what we've done. All you do is request what you want and you'll have what you want,
And John had a question about the dining experience. Is it more formal or is casual okay?
Yes, we're a casual, elegant, relaxed environment. So of course there will be a dress code in the evenings. We wouldn't expect flip-flops and raggy shorts. But okay. It is a more elegant, relaxed style opposed to black tie, etc. And again, nothing wrong with that, but if guests want that, there's brands for them to enjoy.
Sherry had a question about latex. I'm not sure
I saw that, and in all honesty, we're going to have to take that back to Jason Gelanu, who's our head of guest experience, and ask. And we will get that answer back to you, Carlos, and you could then pass it on. I'll be very honest, I'm not going to make up an answer. I've never been asked the question. I understand the question, why, I think, but we'll get the answer. I also see a question about, are we Coke or Pepsi? That's a great question.
Are you? What are you?
Well, actually, we're Coke. However, again, Jason, who I just mentioned, and I just referred to an email that I actually had asked this question personally about 9 months ago. If you are a Pepsi drinker, you tell us you're a Pepsi drinker, and we will make sure that in your guest suite, we put Pepsi and not Coke. And we could have some available for certain lounges. The challenge is we couldn't change out all, we couldn't put in every single lounge Pepsi, but we could certainly have it available on the request. But we are basically a Coca-Cola. And obviously the gentleman or the lady who's asked understands that you either are one or the other in general, Yeah.
Cigar room. Is there one?
Yeah, we have a stunning cigar lounge in a partnership with Davidoff, and it's adjacent to a whiskey bar, which will serve stunning whiskies, not only from Scotland, but from Japan and various locations. The smoking of cigars will be on an exterior private terrace that is off the cigar lounge, and there are 2 or 3 other exterior smoking areas as well. There is no smoking inside the ship, definitely no smoking in the suites or on the terraces of the suites as well.
Educational sessions on board.
So we touched on the luminary program with a minimum of 2, probably maximum of 4 luminaries per journey. Luminaries, we could have called them lectures, we could have called them conversations, but I did describe a little bit using the example of the brigadier who'd organized the military tattoo in Scotland. So again, we will have more information. We can share with you a little bit of information, Carlos, to forward to whoever asked the question. But yes, we will have enrichment of a very high quality.
And back to dining, reservations required?
In 3 of the restaurants and not in 3 others. And again, Saul, I don't know if you know off the top of your head the 3 requiring reservations, obviously Anthology, but we can get you the other 2. Now, what's important about reservations, you can reserve prior to boarding the ship. We will not take reservations for the full restaurant. We'll only take reservations for 50% of the restaurant in advance. So you always have the opportunity. There is none of this, you can make 1 reservation in each of the 3 prior. But if you've gone on a Monday and you want to go again on a Friday and you go to the restaurant and there's available table, you of course can have the table. Nobody is counting once you're on board how many times you've dined in the restaurant. Okay.
Got it.
Yeah.
And no, we said no formal evenings, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Elizabeth, I must say, unfortunately, I'm not saying unfortunately, fortunately, the incentive and the credit that we're talking about today is exclusively for Luxury Cruise Connections and for people that attended today's event, and it's meant to generate new bookings. So, like we always say, I mean, we'll connect with you. We'll see what's the best we can do. But the idea is to get you guys excited about a new booking. I do want to be clear about that. So hopefully we can get you excited about a new one and then get this amazing credit applied.
Carlos, and just real quick, just to answer that question. So the 3 restaurants that will actually take reservations for, of course, as Chris mentioned, Anthology, and then as well as Marble & Co., which is our European steakhouse, and Sakura as well.
Perfect. And medical facilities on board.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's actually a requirement of shipping. And I'm sure you're very aware that all illnesses on a ship have to be reported to the CDC, which is completely the opposite of any illnesses occurring in a hotel. They do not have to report.
There you go.
Yeah.
And Alan was asking us, your butler services are trained from which country?
Oh, training from which country? Actually, it'll be a combination from the United Kingdom and also the Lucerne Hotel School as well, who has a very solid program, I believe.
Cool. And Alan was also asking, will future journey ever start in the US port? Yeah.
Yes, we're excited to bring Explora One to the United States, actually.
Good. And we're gonna have her here. When is it? In at the end of the fall?
Yes, we'll do fall foliage. Obviously, those eastern maritime journeys, moving down the eastern seaboard into the Caribbean after the the South American journeys, and again a couple of Caribbean will be moving through the Panama Canal, and then the western seaboard of the United States, and we actually have two very, very popular journeys. Most people are combining these into an extended journey. It makes 18 nights, Vancouver to Honolulu, and then Honolulu back to Vancouver. If you combine the two, you get actually 7 days, 6 nights in the Hawaiian Islands. Is the second most popular booked journey at the moment.
Perfect.
And that would be the spring of 2024.
Okay.
Yeah.
Back to bathrooms real quick and showers. I know we said, some had very large showers, but every single bathroom has rain head showers.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, unless you're choosing to have the deep soaking tub.
In that case, there's no.
No, you choose which you would like.
Got it. Handicap suites. How many will we have?
Yes, we do. As to how many, I think there are 8 off the top of my head.
Okay. And regarding air arrangements, I'll say that here at Luxury Cruise Connections, we will help you put together air. Explora will be offering custom air, right?
Yes.
There's custom air that can be offered by Explora, but is not included in your fare. That said, when we help you put together the experience, we will inquire with Explora for their air agreements and their air contracts, and we also have incredible cruise air what we call air sea contract or air specifically for cruise guests, and we can make those available for our clients as well, so that way we can just find the best option for you and put that together. Incentives have been expressed as per suite. What about solo travelers? Divide that in half, Cynthia. Anything that we if we said 300 for a suite, that means 150 if it's a solo traveler. Elizabeth is excited about booking another one for 2024. That's awesome. So we got you. Marco is reaching out to you. Perfect. So Marco is going to be reaching out to you if he hasn't done so yet, and Kathleen as well. Beautiful. So Kathleen, you're going to be contacted as well by, I'll tell you in a second, but we're going to be reaching out to you very soon to get you booked and secured for 2024. Like I said, I really want to encourage you guys. This product is going to be amazing. It really is going to be amazing. And, there's absolutely nothing wrong with just, connecting with us, looking at some itineraries, looking at some suites and pricing. Let's get you booked. If not for 2023, for 2024, let's secure the rates before they go up, because they will go up. Okay. And let's take advantage of the incentives that we have right now. Why not? And then, watch those prices go up, and you're going to thank us for pushing you to make a booking right now. We've taken a lot of your time, Chris, and I really want to make sure that we've addressed every single question, everything that anybody wants to know. So is there anything else that you want to share with the audience? Is there any other question that our audience wants us to make sure you guys don't get Chris and Sol in front of the Zoom very often, right? So take advantage of it. Is there anything else you want to know? Like, who else can answer the question of where the butlers are trained?
Cynthia's just asked if we'll have a trip that will include Japan, and the answer to that is yes, but we need to actually launch Explorer 3 or Explorer 4. So we can tell you today, actually, Explorer 2, when she launches, and these journeys are actually available for booking now, she'll launch in the August of 2024. She'll have through to November in the Mediterranean. She'll then actually move through into the Red Sea and deliver some fantastic journeys that include Egypt, Middle Eastern ports, and then she'll move into the Indian Ocean to Mumbai, even down to South Africa. And this region of the world also, just like the Mediterranean does and the Caribbean does, really does allow us to sort of replicate, you know, what any of us would do if we actually were lucky to have a private yacht. So they're fantastic journeys, fantastic itineraries. And then, you know, ship number 3, ship number 4, we'll look to expand to offer more journeys, hopefully in Asia Pacific. So the answer to Japan. And I mean, what a fabulous place to obviously be journeying. It's a wonderful country. So
Chris?
Yes.
Hey, so it's Cynthia. When you look at Japan, please consider, and you're going to laugh at this, please consider doing them in odd number months.
Okay.
So that people can go to the sumo tournaments,
Ooh,
which are in odd number months. So for those of us like me who are huge sumo fans and dying to go to an actual live tournament instead of just watching it on TV, they do the tournaments in odd number months, and they rotate them around from prefecture to prefecture. So you might want to look at that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm going to pass that on to our head of itinerary planning. I didn't know that, so thank you very much. You've educated me, and I appreciate the piece of information. Thank you.
No worries.
Yeah. Great. Well, you know, questions just don't need to be answered now. If Carlos, you get any questions from any of your team, you know that Saul, his team, myself, will always get the answers, you know, and we will follow up. Saul is already probably drafting an email to Jason about the question about latex balloons, latex gloves, and things like that. So, you know, that's our commitment to all of you. The art of listening, that's how we built the brand. That's how you build a brand that actually will be, I think, welcomed and appreciated by our future guests. The amount of momentum we're seeing with bookings tells us there is a terrific opportunity to create something very special, very unique, and very different. And when we say that, remember, we're not saying other brands are not excellent in what they do. They do a fantastic job. The entire industry does a fantastic job. We're just coming this through a different traveler's perspective and bringing a dream and a vision and a passion of our family owners to life. And we can't wait for July the 17th.
Amazing. Just like Chris was saying, Denise wrote my email address and our phone number in the chat. You know, or, you know, you must have received the invitation either directly by one of our advisors or from me. You can also reply back with your questions. If there's anything else that we missed, reply back, or you thought of a different question later on, we'll be happy to get back to you. We promise you this is what we're all about, right? Creating these relationships and really following through for our guests and our clients. So
can I ask one more question? It's Cynthia again. Sorry to be a pest. Do the ships have a polar class rating? Because I know you're doing Iceland, Greenland, if you're going into areas that because I traveled on a different line to Greenland back in July, and it was a PC6 class ship, and then you do Zodiacs to go ashore. So I was wondering, what do you know, what category or class? Yeah,
Cynthia, it's a great question, and I was involved with my prior company on designing and building a PC6 new ship. Our brand is an ocean brand. We're not a deep exploration brand. PC6 ships can break early season ice, spring and autumn ice, and summer ice, of course, probably 30 inches in in depth or something. But we're really an ocean brand. So when we're going to go quite far north, we're going definitely, Iceland, Greenland, but of course we're in the summer months. Yes. Our hull actually is very strong, and in fact our family owner Mr. Vargo has told us we probably could go into early season ice, but that is not what Explora Journeys is about. We truly believe there's some excellent offerings. You've obviously experienced some of those, and we're not going to become an expedition brand. We are an ocean discovery, with a combination of off the beaten path and marquee ports, etc. But yeah, I appreciate the question. Hopefully that's given you a very clear answer.
Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, not everything has to be about an expedition on the Zodiac, right, to get a store.
Yeah.
But I just was curious because you mentioned Iceland and Greenland and those.
Sure.
I was curious what your rating was for that.
Yeah. And so because we're not an expedition ship, we don't have a rating. If we did, we probably would be, I don't know, I'm going to guess a PC 4 or 5 or something,
So if you do like Greenland or something, you go where you can actually dock. So you'd go to like Nuuk or someplace like that.
Exactly. And actually, you've got ship maps on our website. Right. Journey maps on our website, and you can literally go in and see exactly where we're heading. We've got a lot of description. We have what we call a story collection, which you can download as well. Other brands would call that a brochure. We're a little different, so we call it a story collection. We have a rich story to tell about our brand and about the destinations we're going. So there's a lot of information that all of you can go and download, and then ask Carlos and his amazing team to obviously answer any more questions or get you deposited.
There you go. All right, cool. All right, so what I am going to do is I am going to let this guys off the hook for today, because I know that you're probably pushing meetings for us, and I appreciate that very much. I really want to thank both of you guys and the entire Explora Journeys team for being there for us and being such a great partner. We on our end, we're extremely proud to call you guys friends and great partners. I'm sure that there's more questions, on their way. I'm sure that there's, more information for us to share with our guests and our audience. So we are going to let you guys go for today, but know that if anybody else has any more questions, let us know, and we'll try to do another one of these a little bit later on, closer to your actual, maiden voyage date. Hopefully we will have or maybe right after, so that we have firsthand experience of what the actual experience is. But in the meantime, we'll sure be sharing every information we can about Explora Journeys with our guests, because I really think that's what they deserve. Make sure they have an opportunity to sail with you guys very soon. And I know they're going to have an amazing time, because I really believe the product is spectacular. So with that said, thank you all for coming today. Thank you all for being here. Again, sorry for going way over time, but I could not do that. So thank you so much for your time, Sol and Chris, and hope to see you soon again.
Thank you very much. Take care, everybody. Thank you, Carlos. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.